Hello there and welcome. In today's episode of Nerf Flashbacks, we're going to be taking a look at the 2016 Nerf Modulus Tri-Strike. Clearly this blaster has a lot going on, so first let's talk about the main blaster. Now the Tri-Strike itself is a bolt-action magazine-fed pistol with a barrel attachment up front, a tack rail on the top, a stock attachment point, bolt handles on both sides. The grip is reasonably comfortable. Pulling the bolts back will give you access to the jam door. This was the first blaster to ship with a 10-round magazine. I'm not really sure how practical the 10s are. Usually I prefer the 18s. The 12s are pretty good as well. I'm not really sure how many people really like this thing. It's only a little bit smaller than the 12-round magazines. However, more options are always better. To fire, you make sure your bolts are all the way back. Then you insert your magazine, push forward, and pull the trigger. And repeat. The blaster also has slam fire. And that is really, really nice to fire. It has a very nice, crisp, and smooth prime. Of course, to take your magazine out, you pull the priming handle all the way back, and then you strike the magazine release backwards. The placement for this magazine release is really weird because if I hold it in my right hand and stretch my finger out, there is no way that I could ever reach that. I found the best way to take the magazine out was to grab it with your offhand, take your thumb, slide the magazine release back, and pull it out. It's very strange to me that this wasn't designed to be closer and more ergonomic. Now this is the Tri-Strike's stock. This blaster is a hamp, just like a demolisher, which means no triggers. It's essentially as hard as you can push this is how hard the missile is going to fire, so it really depends on the user. You have one tactical rail up here. When attaching this thing to another blaster, this portion back here will hook onto the stock attachment point, and this top piece will go on a rail. If you want to use this thing by itself, it does very simply clip together with this N-Strike stock attachment point, just like that. To fire, you pull the stock all the way back and push it as hard as you can. Overall, a very neat little blaster. Finally, we have the barrel extension. Now this blaster is also a hamp, but it fires 4 mega darts using a Smart AR system. This Smart AR system is not great. Now unfortunately, this blaster doesn't have any kind of pop-out grip or anything like that. If you're going to fire standalone, you're going to hold it something weird like this. To fire, you're going to pull this all the way forward and then push it back. As you just saw, on the second pump it fired 2 darts quite poorly, so not the best Smart AR system. It doesn't work too great, but it's very cool in concept. Now let's see it fire in its completed form. Very goofy, very wacky, but extremely fun. Let's take the Tri-Strike outside and put it over the chronograph. All right, here we are outside with the Nerf Modulus Tri-Strike. Now we're about to get some chrono numbers with the main blaster. Now I'm not going to be chronographing the attachments. I don't think it's fair because my ammo is not brand new, and these are both hamp, so they're very dependent on the user. 72. Duplicate 72. Duplicate 272. 69, but I did hit the chronograph, so I'm not going to count it. 71. 69. And duplicate 69. Very consistent performance coming out of the Tri-Strike. And that is standard elite performance. Now let's take some shots downrange. The Tri-Strike itself is hitting standard elite performance, but the hamp mega barrel we have up here is definitely subpar to every other mega blaster. It's getting very poor performance. This missile launcher up here did not fire very great. I hit this pretty hard, and this is definitely weaker than the Demolisher's hamp. Indoors, these attachments could be really fun and actually quite practical. I love the goofiness of the Tri-Strike. The main blaster is actually pretty nice. If you're okay with 70 FPS blasters, I would throw like an AccuTrooper stock on this and an 18-round magazine. If you like these attachments and you don't like the Tri-Strike, you can just take them off and stick them on whatever blaster you want. The modularity is awesome. That was definitely the main reason I absolutely loved the Modulus line. I'm super disappointed that we haven't got a brand new Modulus blaster since the Shadow. It really demonstrates how cool Modulus was with its innovative goofiness that took advantage of the modularity of the N-Strike system. A very cool blaster. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Nerf Flashbacks, and happy nerfing.